I am probably going to massively regret the fact that I am wrapping presents on the floor. Normally I wrap presents up on my island where I can stand and have a big surface, but it was kind of too noisy up there to be able to kind of do what I wanted to do today, which is something a little different. I thought we would wrap some Christmas gifts together and do a little chat. I feel like a lot of people have been looking for like kind of some life updates on things that have been happening, things with Jason. I get a lot of questions over on Instagram personally about my own health journey, because I did share a couple years ago about how I got diagnosed with primary immune deficiency. And so I thought I would kind of bring you guys along and let you know like what all's been going on, kind of open up the curtain and let you in on life a little bit instead of just always running around doing decor and baking and all that. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So I decided that I could wrap a few of my grandkids' presents here on screen because, you know, they don't watch my videos. And if they do, they have no idea what's going on. So I'm going to wrap a few of theirs because otherwise I don't want certain people to see what all I'm wrapping. But anyway, and I will tell you right now, I am not the best wrapper, that's for sure. I always have like just interesting wrapping is what I call it. Anyway, where do we begin on the life update? I think we'll begin actually with me first. Because I just went to the doctor this morning, to my immunologist. I hope this wrapping paper isn't too loud while I'm cutting. Here, let me get through it really quick. So I just went to my immunologist this morning, and we check every 6 months to see how the medication is doing. Is this not going to fit? Oh my goodness. Is this the morning? Is this how this is going to start off right off the bat? I hate wrapping with a passion. Anyway, so I went to my immunologist today, and so we checked my IgG levels, and because, recap, in case you never watched the beginning, like original health diagnosis stuff, I was sick and sick and sick and sick, and I always felt like there was something wrong, and I felt like I went to the doctor. I felt like I got gaslighted all the time, kind of felt like I always got ignored on just health issues. And I was just, after I got COVID for the first time, I was just continuing to get more and more and more sick. And I would get COVID, and then I got COVID, and over and over and over. And I literally like was to the point where I felt like I was going to die. I get choked up. I remember laying in my bed just feeling so sick, and I just needed somebody to listen to me. So my doctor that I always felt like, well, actually she was technically a nurse practitioner that always ghosted me. This isn't going to work. This flat out is not going to work. Hold on. All right. I'll move it to a different gift. So my doctor that I always felt like gaslighted me and didn't listen to me, I got this letter in the mail that she was going to be out because she had her own health issues. And instantly I'm like, because we were friends. That was part of the problem. I was a nurse. She was a nurse practitioner, and we had become friends over the years. And I just felt sneaky trying to see someone else while she was there. Well, I get this letter, and I go and I see another one of her colleagues that works in the same practice, but, you know, still has all like my health information, health insurance, blah, 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 blah. All right. Well, long story short, she sent me to a specialist. That specialist actually didn't end up being one that I needed. She sent me to a rheumatologist because I was just complaining about how I'm always achy, how this, how that. She's like, oh, I'm going to send you to a rheumatologist. To be honest, I don't think she really knew what to do with me, but she was at least doing something with me. So that was pretty exciting. And she sent me to this rheumatologist who really listened to me, and she ran all these blood tests. And here's where like the magic happened. Not even in one of the blood tests that she ran, the lab noticed from something else that she was having done, noticed that I didn't have any IgM. And they said, they repeated it, might want to further investigate if it warrants it. So she says to me, which she already knew because I had complained about it, she was like, so do you get sick often? And I'm like, yes. Like if I get sick and then I get sick forever. And she was like, okay, well, I'm going to send you to an immunologist. So blah, blah, blah. So I have two different things. I have selective IgM deficiency, which is really rare. That one's super rare. And basically it's people who don't have IgM, which is your first line of defense when it comes to, your immune system. And the next that kicks in is your IgG. So my IgG there's 4 subclasses, and my subclass 2 and 4 were low, which is total textbook for someone who has the selective IgM deficiency. So anyway, so those 2 were low. So she was like, oh, okay, you're kind of textbook here. And then she looked, and then like people like me, all those vaccines you have when you're a kid, like pneumococcal and those type of things, body does not hang on to any of those when you have that. Really didn't have, there was a little bit floating around, but not even like, if I remember right, 8%. And you should have like a way more than that. And anyway, so, they had to run all these tests. They had to prove that I didn't have cancer, because I had a lot of other weird things like T cells and B cells that were jacked up from everything. And, anyway, so I got sent to hematology, oncology, made sure that I didn't have cancer. And then once they proved that I didn't have that, then I was able to get approved. And now every week on Mondays, I sit for about 2 hours and I do an infusion of IgG. So here's the good and the bad of it. The good is it raises all my levels of my IgG, and I have hardly, I'm knocking on some wood, I'm praising Jesus, I have hardly been sick at all, except my sinuses, which is never going to change. But that's okay. I can deal with that. But I will never get the IgM. They don't have that available, so I still don't have my first line of defense, but now I at least have the second line of defense, so that when I do start to feel sick, I would get sick and I would be sick for weeks, and now I get sick and I'm like, I start feeling better within just fast, couple days. And I'm like, woohoo! So it's really good. But I do have something bad that's been going on, and it's been difficult, and I'm so thankful. So my body overreacts all the time. Look, I'm not even rapping, I'm just talking. Okay, let me rap while I'm doing this. I gotta get some stuff done. My body overreacts when it gets anything like put into it. I mean, it hates getting things put into it. So basically, when I get the IgG every week, it's a subcutaneous infusion. So it's a little baby needle, and I hook one into my thigh, the other thigh, and my stomach. And normally that should be pretty easy. Subcutaneous is like, it's barely deep. It's not that bad. I will let you know it is a syringe like this big. It's like 60 mils of fluid. And so it is quite a bit of fluid. Oh my goodness. My body does not like it, and I swell up, and it stings like the dickens every time I do it. So yes, I take a large amount of Benadryl before I do it. I have an EpiPen on hand. I'm going to lose my tape 700 times while we're doing this. And then now I take a couple different antihistamines. I no longer can take ibuprofen while I'm doing it because, darn it, I got an ulcer. I was so mad. This past year I got diagnosed with an ulcer. My stomach was killing me. And yeah, so I can't take ibuprofen anymore, which, if you know me, I love ibuprofen. But that's okay. So anyway, about a couple months ago, maybe about a month ago now, I had the weirdest thing happen. So my legs swelled up really large when I was doing my infusion, about the size of a softball. And it put so much pressure on the vein that was right next to like where the needle had went in, that when I released the needle and pulled it out, that pressure moved onto that vein and busted open, and blood just flew everywhere. I mean, it was weird. I mean, I'm a nurse and I've never seen that happen. For a split second in my mind, I was like, did I hit an artery? Which I couldn't hit an artery. This needle is so tiny. So, anyway, so every Monday is just kind of a torture to get through these infusions. And I have to do this for the rest of my life in order to basically stay alive, or I'm going to get something, and there you go. I'll be a Debbie Goner. But anyway, so I've just been sucking it up and doing it, and I don't really complain to her or anything too much, but I did tell her about what's been going on and about how much it's been swelling and how it feels like I'm getting stung by 1,000 wasps. And we're going to try a new medication, which I was scared to do. I have really good levels. I haven't been getting sick. I'm so scared to change medication. I'm so scared to get sick again all the time because I don't have time to get sick again all the time taking care of Jason. I need to be able to stay healthy, to continue to work and take care of him and just be my best self, because when you don't feel good, well, that's no fun. I don't want to do that. So, but she assured me that all I'm doing is changing brands. My medication is actually the same, it's just a different brand, which means the IgG in it is going to be no different. Just the way sometimes the medication is like processed can be different, and a lot of times then bodies can react differently to it. So she says there's about 5 different brands of of what makes the IgG that I get put in me. And so we're going to try a different brand and see if maybe my body, you know, thinks this one's better and I don't have to sit there every Monday and feel tortured. Because I will admit, it's been getting like, every week it's like, I got to do this again. And so, hold on, I got to make sure I got the right jammies for the right grandkid here. Yeah. And so I'm pretty excited. So we're going to hopefully everything goes good with insurance, and they don't, logically it shouldn't be a big deal. It's the exact same thing, but you know how insurance is, and they're never logical. So prayers that all that goes well and gets changed easily. And I'm excited about that. And then just something else that we're going to do in my family. A lot of you might not know this, but lung cancer is very prevalent in my family. Both my parents died of it, and then like my grandparents, like my mom's dad, and it's just really a lot. And I won't go into a lot of detail, but long story short, I'm 50 and I have an immune deficiency, so makes me kind of rare anyway. We're just going to go ahead and we're just going to go get a CAT scan of my lungs to have as a baseline, just because it seems pretty prevalent that most of my family members, they die of lung cancer in their 50s, 40s to 50s. And so not having an immune system, even though I'm not a smoker and I never have been, that kind of still puts me at a high risk, since I just don't have the best immune system, especially since I don't have any IgM. So we're going to get a baseline CAT scan, so that way we have that, and we can just always, then she can reference it. And every so often, every few years, we can, you know, get a new one. Luckily for insurance, because of my deficiency and everything, I qualify to get those kinds of things often, because it's very common for people like me to get pneumonia and those types of things. That way we'll have a baseline and she can see any little changes and just always be on top of it, and not just, I don't know, I feel like, man, when my parents got lung cancer, they just got lung cancer and just died like so fast. Like we found out, my mom had it and she died, about 2.5 months after we found out. And then my dad, he had it for a while. He'd been keeping it a secret, but he literally died about 3 weeks after we found out. So that was great. And, so that all happened when I was young. I was 17 when my mom died, and then I was 26 when my dad passed away from it. And then I believe my mom's dad was 47 or 47 when he died of lung cancer. And then I believe my dad's dad, I don't know how old he was. Anyway, he was young. I know he was younger also, because I never met him. So, anyway, that's all depressing, but I'm excited to just have that baseline so we can always keep an eye on it. So that's kind of what's been going on with me. So next, I definitely want to talk about Jason, which makes me always think about, a lot of people ask me, what do I do for myself? You know, being his caregiver, like how do I do self-care? How do I take care of myself in that way? Because there is a lot going on between like my own health and that type of thing. And so I really want to thank BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. Therapy is my top priority on being able to take care of myself. I never realized before I started therapy how beneficial it was. I always felt like, oh, I don't need that. And I found that talking to my therapist through BetterHelp really changed my outlook and perspective on things. I feel like she gave me the tools that I need in order to continue to take the best care of myself, which then I can take the best care of Jason. A lot of times I feel intimidated to go into a therapist's office and sit down with them. For me personally, I don't have the time. I cannot just leave Jason here and go and sit down with one for an hour, and it's just not feasible. So when BetterHelp became an option for me, when I learned about it, I'm like, this is amazing. I can sit here and do this from my own home, not take time away from leaving Jason and having to worry about getting, someone to keep an eye on him or worrying about that. I can do it all from the comfort of my own home, and that right there is amazing. One of the great things about BetterHelp is they're trying to make starting therapy for people easier. You get on, they ask you a few questions, you'll usually get matched with a therapist within a few days. And the best part is, if you don't like that therapist, you can switch. It's super easy. You don't have to feel uncomfortable compared to like if you're going into a therapist and then you're just like, oh, never mind, don't want to come back here anymore. It's so easy when you do it through BetterHelp so you can get the right therapist that matches with, your lifestyle, your goals, and, makes you feel comfortable. That's the big thing for me. Something I want you to remember is that seeking out therapy is a sign of self-awareness, and it is a sign of strength. I highly recommend, if you feel like you're struggling and you would benefit from a therapy session, head to betterhelp.com/acharmingabode. I'll leave a link down in the description box. I will let you know that you will get 10% off your first month of therapy. And thank you, BetterHelp, for sponsoring today's video. Let's talk a little bit about Jason. I know a lot of people are always wanting to know about Jason. And it's been kind of a roller coaster, like it always is. I feel like this dementia is like, blah, nothing but a roller coaster for sure. It just always makes me feel like I don't know what to expect. So he recently had, his typical neurology appointment. And I feel so frustrated. And this is so hard to talk about because a lot of people have opinions and a lot of people think they know what they're talking about and they want to offer diet advice. And so just please, for my own sanity, please don't put in the comments that Jason needs a carnivore diet, a keto diet. He needs to take some mushrooms. He needs to do this. I really, really, really don't want to hear it. We're so beyond that. We're so past that. So please, for my sanity, don't write that to me. Read the room. But anyway, so they want to redo some tests with Jason that he had done 6 years ago when he was first diagnosed with dementia. And the frustrating part about Jason is they just don't know quite which dementia that he has. A lot of people just don't understand that there are a lot of different dementias. There's not just Alzheimer's. So when Jason first started he goes to the most amazing place. He goes to the KU Memory Alzheimer Clinic. It's very well known, high research. They're awesome. They definitely know their stuff. So when he first started going to them, he did the initial test and he did a lumbar puncture. And he did multiple tests. I'm just saying he did a lumbar puncture because that's what we're going to talk about. He did that test and it came back borderline for Alzheimer's, even though they didn't believe that he has Alzheimer's. I still don't think he has Alzheimer's. He doesn't present like that with his dementia at all. And so that came back borderline. And so they were like, okay. And then, they did PET scan and MRIs and stuff like that. And you could definitely see that he had a traumatic brain injury, which we knew, which we had figured. So that was all there. And, lots of other tests. I mean, there's so many tests. I can't even. And then, of course, they rule out everything else. And so they did all that. So they want to redo. Well, I actually suggested it. And now I'm kind of debating on whether or not I really want to do this. I suggested redoing the lumbar puncture because, this wrapping paper is not the best. Kind of ripping. I suggested redoing the lumbar puncture because if it said borderline, it's 6 years ago when he was diagnosed, what's it going to say now? Is it going to stay the same? Is it still going to say borderline? Was it a fluke that even showed up there? Not that I think it's a fluke, that I don't think he has dementia. Lord have mercy, does the man have dementia? His memory is so bad. Not his long-term memory. That's why I just don't, nothing is affecting his long-term memory. His long-term memory is still fantastic. And some of the stuff that he's been doing lately that makes it a little difficult, I feel like sometimes for other people to not feel awkward, is he has a tendency to talk in movie quotes. So he sometimes struggles to visit, and so he'll start relying on his long-term memory of, he used to know all these movie quotes. He could quote all this stuff. Well, that's how he'll kind of start talking to you, is in movie quotes. And you're just sitting there like, what are we talking about? And I usually pick up on it because I'm around him all the time, so I figured it out. But a lot of people I know, sometimes they just like, oh, yeah, and they just kind of go with it, and you just, yeah. My daughter Kelsey, she's so cute. One time she said, you just never know what's going to come out of Dad's mouth. No, you definitely don't. That's for sure. And that's okay. We love it. It keeps us on our toes. But anyway, so what difference if I do the lumbar puncture? Is it really, going to make? What's it going to say? I don't know. So, they think that he has chronic traumatic encephalopathy, and that's what's causing the dementia. And that's like, if you might have heard about it, like different football players get that from, concussions. Well, yes, Jason had a ton of concussions, and he had a brain injury, and he had, the kid was a maniac when he was little. He bumped his head. He raced motorcycles. He was a wrestler. He played football. Of course, then he had the brain injury in the military. So CTE is, that's definitely very much could be why he has dementia. Guys, here we go. I'm losing. Ta-da. And so I can understand that. It kills me. I think just as his wife, and I think as a nurse, it kills me just not knowing specifically. Like, I know with my health issues, I specifically know what's wrong with me. I know I have a diagnosis, and even though the selective IgM deficiency is so rare, I could read about it. I know exactly what it is. I am textbook, meaning it's like that's just exactly what mine sounds like. And Jason is all over the place. He's all over the place. It drives me crazy. He'll go in and he'll do those memory tests, and they're so stupid to him. Like, who's the president? And draw me a clock. And those are the kinds of things. And he's like, oh my goodness, I know who the president is, and I know how to draw a clock. He's Mr. Smarty Pants. But he can't pass any of the short-term memory type stuff. Like where they're like, I'm going to give you 4 numbers and then you tell me them back and that kind of stuff. He can't do that. He can't, his memory doesn't work that way. So, and then he's lost, his logic and his reasoning and his executive function. And I was thinking about it, and people kill me when they're like, oh, I've been watching you guys for a long time and Jason doesn't seem like he's really any different. I'm like, let's have a little chat. So I had kind of a little mini breakdown the other day when I went back to 2018. And I was like revisiting those tests, and I was thinking about where we were in life, and just Jason still worked. He had a successful career, very successful career. He was an officer in the Air Force Reserve, and he led hundreds of men and did a fantastic job. And he could drive, and he could manage money, and he was so smart, and very much a lot of logic and reasoning, and he was just a lot of fun. He was never angry. He was always, mood was normal and happy and stable, and he was just a really normal guy. And then he started having where he's repeating himself, and then it was like, little by little, everything's grown. And then now here 6 years later, Obviously, he can't work. He can't drive. He can't manage money. He's on a lot of mood stabilizers. He obviously doesn't have any logic, reasoning. He can't learn anything new. And so it kills me when people are like, oh, he doesn't seem any different. I want to be like, you guys are so stupid for saying that. It's so stupid. It's just like, oh my goodness gracious. That frustrates me. And I don't mean to say the word stupid, but that's how I feel. I get so frustrated. Pray about it with me, because I've been praying about it. And I've been asking the Lord to show me what is wrong with Jason, so that I can have the best information, so I can take the best care of him as possible. And I like to know what's going on. But then sometimes I know that the Lord doesn't want us to know. And sometimes, so I don't want to know anything I'm not supposed to know. So see the dilemma there? So this is when you just have to trust in him and go with the process. But do I redo the test to see if it shows anything else now? Because a part of it is also with CTE, you also do get a collection of proteins in your brain, and that also might give us a little more indication. We're never going to know for sure until he passes away and we do an autopsy. But yeah, so anyway, I wish I could just, have a little crystal ball and see what's happening in the future. Do I put Jason through this test? And they are going to do the neuropsych evaluation again, just to compare to like how he did when he first was diagnosed to now, and just kind of see where he's at. Obviously, it's going to be a lot worse than it was. I know that. But so that's kind of where we're at with Jason. And for the most part, we have his mood stabilized. He has to go to a psychiatrist for that now, and that helps a lot, and they stay on top of it. And so that's been really, really helpful, because I will tell you what, if the mood isn't right, then everything is wrong, and it makes you're walking on eggshells and just trying to get through your day. And when you're dealing with that, and then you're just trying to do normal life, and you're working, and you have deadlines, and things are due, and you want to be a grandma, you want to be a mom, you want to be a wife. I don't always want to be a caregiver. That's the hard part. So that's just the honest truth. And Jason, he just doesn't even, I'm so thankful, because he's just not even aware half the time of all this stuff going on, and doesn't even pay attention. And I think that's great, because I want him to just be stress-free, living his life, doing his thing, doing what makes him happy, and not have to worry about the everyday things. That's what I want for him. All right, let's talk a little bit about the future of A Charming Abode and YouTube. First, I am so beyond thankful that I get to work from home and get to stay here with Jason. So thank you for that. Oh, so appreciative of all the support. You guys are so kind. You're always leaving comments. You're always just so supportive. And that is just such a blessing. You might not know it, but every comment, every like, every share, every single thing that you do here on YouTube helps me immensely. And, what would I do without you guys? I don't know if you've noticed, but every week I usually have a sponsor now. That's a big deal. It takes a lot to earn that and get those sponsors to, want to be able to do that. And I feel so blessed that that's what I get to do. And I'm very thankful, because it's helped to replace my nursing income, and it helps me be able to stay here. And I don't think anything beats that. God is good. God is so good. And so, I will say, I'm a little bored, with the content lately. I want to do something a little different, a little new, or maybe, I just, it's the end of the year. We're just all kind of grinding, pushing, trying to get through the year. And so I'm going to try maybe, sorry, I'm being noisy. There we go. I might try and do some new fun stuff this next year. Mix it up a little bit. We'll see how it goes. Sometimes you guys as the viewer don't like that, and so those don't go over well, or YouTube doesn't like it and they won't push it. And so I'm like, oh, that algorithm drives me crazy. But I will say I have some fun home renovation projects that I've been saving for, and I'm so excited. So I don't know if you guys have ever noticed in any of my like decorating videos, but I have really old like tile floors in my living room and in my dining room, and then I have really ugly carpet in my bedroom, and then the rest of it's all nice hardwood floors. Well, that tile has been there forever, and it's like cracking and chipping, and oh, it's making me nervous because the grandbaby's feet, the little footsies, I don't want them to, get their foot cut on those loose tile pieces. And so in January, which I'll be documenting it and sharing it with you guys, I'm so excited. All that is getting ripped out and new hardwood floors are going in those spots. And then the part that already has the hardwood floors, they'll get sanded down and then it'll all match. I don't know why. I am pumped. I've just been saving to do these kinds of things, and I'm so excited. Now, I was going to be doing the bathroom, and we talked about it in the day in a life, and I had a little boo-boo, not a boo-boo, but a little something that had to get put first. So the bathroom is still on hold. One day I'm going to get this bathroom updated, I promise. I need new windows so bad, and I don't know if you guys would know, but man, windows are stupid expensive, like so expensive. And so my windows are to the point. They're the original windows. They are completely rotten. I can't even open them. So I'm like, this is terrible. I have to do something, and I couldn't afford to do all my windows in my house. So I'm doing the front half of my house this year, and I'm going to continue to save, and I'm going to do the back half of my house. Not Jason's room, because those windows are new. And then I'm going to do the back half of my windows the next year. Because, man, I'm in the wrong line of business. I need to be in the window business. They are so expensive. So there's that. But then, so those... I've paid my half down, and they're getting made, and those are going to go in when it warms up, so probably about March. So I'm definitely going to document all that. I am so excited to be able to open my windows this spring. I couldn't open my windows this whole last year. And it was just stuffy, so I either just went straight from the heat straight to the air conditioner, never got to have any fresh air in my house. So these are all first world problems, but because I'm very thankful I even have a house with some windows. But so I'm really excited to get those and be able to open my windows and feel safe. Like, I feel like, my goodness, if there was a fire, good luck getting out these windows. Although they're so rotten, I could probably just push them right out. They're really that bad. So anyway, bathroom is on hold right now. Windows are up first, and yeah. And then I have a lot of decluttering happening. There's been a lot of decluttering going on behind the scenes. Actually, wait till you see next week's video. It's a whole declutter for 2025. Get ready. If you need motivation, it's happening. It's coming. I feel like those decluttering videos are like really helpful for people. And on top of that, I feel like some people were a little judgmental about this stuff and didn't really like listen in about how the dementia caused Jason to have hoarding tendencies, because he never had those before. And how all the stuff collected in that back room. But he's been doing a lot better about letting me get rid of things and not bringing as many things into the home. I'm really so thankful for that. So get ready for some more decluttering. So, in the amount of this whole video, I've only wrapped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gifts. I need to step up my game. Oh my goodness, I'll be honest. I'm going to probably wrap this video up, and I'm going to go up and stand up and do it at the bar, because I cannot do this on the floor. I'm too old and my back hurts. So anyway, thank you guys so much for doing an update with me, and I'll keep you guys updated, probably over on Jason's channel, of what we end up doing and finding out with the test results. Everybody over there, they've been wanting an update, but Jason hasn't really been wanting to film one. I was pretty impressed that he did my video last week and put in a couple little gift ideas, so that was pretty fun, and I know people were happy to see him. So thank you guys always for being so sweet to him and everything. All right, guys. It's Christmas this week. Can you believe it? I hope you have the best, most merriest, happiest Christmas possible. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.